بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين. We want to talk inshallah in this session about the reason we see some problems in this natural world. As we said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge is absolute. There is nothing that He doesn't know. If you really think about this, you easily understand. It doesn't mean that there is something that He doesn't know. Because if there is something, it's His creature. He has created. So how can He, be ignorant about it? Everything He knows. Also, He has power to do everything because He has created everything. And He is kind. He doesn't want to do any bad thing. Why? Our ulama have made a very good argument. They said, why someone does zulm, for example? Why a government or a person or a company mistreats people? Either they do this because they are bad people. Yeah, there are people who enjoy when they annoy people. That when they hurt people, they enjoy. Unfortunately, sometimes even ordinary people, when they are not careful by hurting people, annoying people, they laugh, they are happy. And this is bad because this can lead to cruelty. So, there are people who do zulm because they want to do zulm. Okay, this is one scenario. Sometimes people do zulm, do bad things, not because they want, it's not their first choice, but they have some needs, and this is the way they want to meet their own needs. So as a result, they do zulm. In other words, by doing zulm, they want to achieve something else. For example, there is a person who needs money. Then he steals your money. If he had money, he wouldn't have stolen your money. Okay? It's not the first type. The first type, he enjoys doing bad things. Yeah? There are people who enjoy, for example, stealing. But there are people that they do this because they are really in need. The third possibility is they are not bad, they are not in need, but they don't have knowledge of any better way. Sometimes people don't know how to handle things and then they create a mess. It's not because they needed this and it's not because they wanted this, but they didn't know how to avoid this. Many times people have good intention, but they don't have knowledge and capability of doing things properly. So, zulm is either because of lack of knowledge or because of lack of power and abilities or because of bad heart, bad character. We have beautiful hadith which says, إِنَّمَا يَحْتَاجُ إِلَى الظُّلْمِ الضَّعِيفِ. The only one who needs to do zulm is za'if, the one who is weak. When you are weak, psychologically, you feel vulnerable. And by doing zulm, you want to protect yourself. When a government is weak, then it start putting lots of restrictions on its citizens. When a government feels strong, then doesn't mind, if people speak. If a teacher is not sure that he can answer to the questions of the students, puts lots of restrictions. Don't ask me questions. If you ask me questions, ask me in a private, so that if I don't know, no one else knows. Okay? But if a teacher is confident, he doesn't feel any problem. So, إنما يحتاج إلى الظلم الضعيف. Okay? So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why should do zulm? Why should he do zulm? He is not, na'udhu billah, ignorant. He is not needy. And he is not bad. So there is no reason to do zulm. Can you imagine your mother or your father doing zulm to you? The only time that you can imagine that they may do zulm to you is when unknowingly they may do zulm to you. Or when they have no option. Say, okay, maybe my father, when he has no option, then he takes my money and doesn't give me back. But if he has choice, and if he is able, he never do zulm to me. Yeah? You feel safe because they love you. With respect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are 100% sure that he doesn't do zulm to us. Because by doing zulm to me, he is not achieving anything. And he is not in need of achieving anything. And he doesn't have any reason for doing zulm. Okay? And philosophically, it's even easier. If everything that exists in the effects, in ma'lul, what is created by Allah, if everything that they have comes from Allah, then what is Allah going to achieve from them? Everything is coming from Him. If I have, this example, inshallah, is helpful. If I have 1 million pounds, okay, I put in your pockets different amounts of my money. But it's my money, but I just put in your pocket. Okay? So, am I in need of doing zulm to you? Am I gaining anything from you? It's my money. It's not your money. Anything that we have is from Him. So how can He do zulm by taking anything from me? Okay, it doesn't make sense. Everything is coming. Even I myself, my pocket, everything is also from Him. The money is from Him. The coat is from Him. The person who has put on this coat is from Him. Okay, so there is no way that He gains anything from us. Now the question is, so why we see problems? We cannot question His justice. Also, we don't expect, this is very important thing, we have to be humble. We should not expect to understand everything. Unfortunately, there are people that they think they have to understand everything. Who are you to understand everything that Allah does? There are many, many things even in our daily life that we don't understand. Do you understand how big companies run their companies? I don't understand. I don't have experience. When I don't know, how these big managers, run their companies, how can I expect to understand how Allah is running this world? There are many, many things that I don't know. Many, many skills that I don't have. Many, many types of expertise that I lack. So, my knowledge is very limited. So, I have to be humble. But I can try to improve my understanding. I can never understand perfectly, but I can try to understand. When I am a child, I cannot understand everything that my parents do. I cannot understand, for example, why my father gives lots of his money, for example, to our landlord. If you are a 2-year-old child, you don't understand why your father is giving so much money to this person. But when you grow up, you understand that if you don't give him money, then you have to live on the street. So, you cannot understand everything when you are not in that high position. But you can try. So, now we want to try to understand why there are problems in the world. The first thing that we have to understand is that this physical world is not perfect. Some people say, if Allah is perfect, if God is perfect, why He didn't create a perfect thing? You know, some atheists have said, if I had the knowledge that God has and the power that He has and the time that He has had, I would have made a better world. This is because of jahl. Like a child that he says, if the money that the father has I had, I made this house full of chocolate. He doesn't understand why, we cannot fill the house with chocolate. We need also to have other things. So some people say, no, if I had all the things that God has, as you claim, I would have made a better world. So it means that there is no such God that you claim. This is their argument. And we say, we never claim that this world is perfect. Why? Because there is no perfection possible within the limits of the physical world. This world is the best possible world, not perfect. In this world, we have lots of limitations. When you are sitting on this chair, I cannot sit on that chair. This is a limit. When two people heat, then there is pain. For example, walking fast, and then another person is coming in front of me, and then we hit each other. So there's pain. And if I hit a car, I can get injured or killed. I cannot say, okay, you go in whatever way you like, and that person drives in whatever way he likes, and when you have accident, there's no problem should happen. Or fire should not burn. If fire is not to burn, so it's not fire. If it's burning, so it can burn kebab or it can burn your house. You cannot say, I want a fire that burns kebab but not burns my finger. I want a knife that can cut the meat but doesn't meet my finger. If his knife is sharp, so whatever is coming on the way of knife, it will be cut. So if we want to have, for example, a company, this company cannot have, so many directors. One person has to be director, then others have to work for him. Yeah? You cannot say, okay, let's everyone be director. Let's everyone be teacher. Okay, so if everyone is teacher, then what about those people who are not qualified? They have to be a student. Some people have to be soldiers, some people have to be teachers, some people have to be drivers. We need different functions, different roles. So, this world is not perfect. Not because Allah is not capable, na'udhu billah. No, because perfection cannot be achieved in the physical world, which is the world of space and time, and therefore limitations. If you want perfection, that is in heaven. In heaven, there is no shortage. In heaven, there is no accident. In heaven, there is no cancer. But that is not this world. This world is subject to all these problems. You remember perhaps this beautiful example of a person who went to make a tattoo of lion on his body. So when that person wanted to make the tattoo, you know, they have to use needle. Yeah, so it's very painful. So as soon as he started, he said, "What part of lion is this?" He says, "The tail." He said, "Please leave it. Tail is not necessary." So then he started another one. He said, "What part?" He said, "Leg." He said, "Leave it." Then said, "What part?" He said, "Stomach." I said, "Leave it." And then neck, leave it. Then that person got angry. He said, "How can you expect me to create something that even Allah has not created? To create a lion without tail and leg and a stomach and neck, is that what even Allah has not created? Shire, biyalo, domo, eshkam, Khoda ham nafarid." Yal is the neck of the lion, and dom is tail, and shkam is stomach. So either you have lion with all these things, or you don't have lion. Either you have fire or you don't have fire. You have water. If you have water, okay, water can be good for your thirst, for your, I don't know, farm and garden, but at the same time it can cause flood. You cannot say, "I want only water to be good." So the first thing is to forget perfection. This world is the best possible world. The second thing is that this world is created for a purpose. This is very important. You know, one of the, again, historical debates among Muslim theologians was whether Allah has purpose or not. In Arabic they call it ghaya, which means end. Does he have any ghaya, any end, any purpose? Some people said Allah has no purpose. Why? Because they thought if we say he has a purpose in his creation, it means that he is needy. He wants to achieve something. For example, I have a purpose when I build a house because I need shelter. So my purpose is to have shelter. I work because I need money to eat and drink. So they thought if we say Allah has purpose, we are limiting, restricting him. We are making him needy. But the Shiites and some also Sunni theologians said no. Allah has purpose. He doesn't do anything in vain. He's not doing anything abasan, as he says in the Quran. أَفَحَسَبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا. Everything is for a reason. But sometimes the reason is to benefit yourself, as when we do things. Sometimes the purpose is to benefit others. He has purpose, but the purpose is to give us, not to gain something for himself. Okay? So he never does anything without purpose, because he's Hakim. But he does things in order to give us, to help us. Okay? This world has been created for a purpose. What is the purpose? The purpose is to use it as an opportunity to have happy life here, but more importantly, eternally. We don't say this world is not important. No, it's important. But the main thing is happiness in Akhirah. You know, when you go for a trip, okay, you should be happy as much as possible during the journey. But the main thing is not the trip, the travel. The main thing is that when you arrive there, you want to enjoy yourself. And therefore, sometimes we take all the trouble and pain of traveling or walking long distance or driving, because we know that when I arrive there, then I can enjoy. Sometimes, for example, maybe you climb a mountain because you know that on the top there is a very beautiful scenery. You want to reach that and enjoy. Sometimes, in the past, people used to walk or, spend, months to go to Mecca and Medina because they wanted to enjoy Mecca and Medina. Yeah, they were not necessarily enjoying all those, dangerous roads, difficult, journeys. Of course, you try as much as possible to make even the journey enjoyable. Yeah? But the main thing is after you arrive. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this dunya is created as an opportunity in which you can guarantee your eternal happiness. And without considering that, you cannot understand the purpose of creating this world. It's very beautiful. Allah says, أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. Have you thought that we have created you in vain and you are not returning to us? It means that if we cut between this world and the hereafter, if we forget hereafter, there was no reason to be created. Like putting people in train without any destination. What are they going to achieve? So, this world is created for a very clear purpose. And that is to give us opportunity to achieve eternal happiness. Now, to understand Allah's wisdom, we have to see whether the purpose for which this world has been created is achievable or not. If it does something for a purpose, but that thing cannot secure that purpose, then that's a problem. Yeah? If I say, I design for you a house, but this is a house that you cannot live inside, then it's useless. If I create for you a swimming pool, but I say, you cannot swim in this because it cannot hold water. There is, leakage. So this is useless. It's worse than even useless because it's occupying, my space. The purpose has to be achievable. So now we want to see, is the purpose behind creation of this world, which is being able to secure happiness in Akhirah, is this purpose achievable, or it is not achievable because of these problems that we have? Some people become ill, some people die, some people are poor, some people are not treated properly. Do these things affect the purpose? The answer is no. Indeed, all of these things are part of the plan for achieving that purpose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything in the way that you can benefit from for your purpose. If you have health, you benefit from your health. Because when you are healthy, you can do ibadah, you can study, you can help people, you can do many things. Okay? But if you are not healthy and you are ill, it doesn't mean that you have lost happiness. Because, as we will explain, even the people who are ill and they are patient, Allah gives them so much in Akhirah that they indeed achieve more than the people who were healthy. If you have money, you can do lots of good things with your money. But if you work hard and still you are poor, you achieve more through your poverty. If you have parents, it's a blessing. If you are an orphan, again, this can be a blessing. It's not that Allah doesn't like you. Allah, has forgotten you. Rasulullah was an orphan. Before he was born, the Prophet's father passed away. When he was very young, his mother passed away. Then his grandfather, then his uncle, his wife. Does it mean that Rasulullah was deprived from success? He didn't manage to achieve the purpose of his life? Allah, na'uzubillah, denied him prosperity in Akhirah? No. Indeed, everything worked for him in the way that was leading to more and more success. We don't want to volunteer to become ill or poor or orphan. But if this happens to you, you can take this as something useful. You can make it into your advantage. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانِ فِي. Yeah. But in addition to this, فِي كَبَدٍ. We have created insan, human beings, in pain, in troubles. This life is full of difficulties. Allah said to Prophet Adam alayhi salam, this is very important. Iblis is your enemy. إِنَّ هَذَا عَدُوٌّ لَكَ وَلَزَوْجِكَ. If you want the reference, is chapter 20, verse 117, Surah Taha, verse 117. إِنَّ هَذَا عَدُوٌّ لَكَ وَلَزَوْجِكَ. Shaitan, Iblis, Allah pointed, of course not by finger, that this Iblis is your enemy and enemy of your wife. Be careful, this enemy would not send you outside. فَلَا يُخْرَجَنَّكُمَا مِنَ الْجَنَّةِ. Because he is trying very hard to send you outside heaven. What happens if he manages to send you outside? فَتَشْقَى. Then you would suffer. Now in this garden, you don't need to worry about food, drink, dress, anything. But if you go outside, فَتَشْقَى, you would suffer. So, Allah Himself is telling us that this world, this dunya, is a place of suffering. But interestingly, in the same surah, after a few verses, I think in Surah Baqarah, again in the story of Prophet Adam, Allah says, I am sending you, or maybe in the same surah, I made doubt, I don't want to say something, I'm not sure, so please check whether it's this surah or later. Allah says, I am going to send you guidance. When my guidance comes to you, فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى فَمَنْ تَبِعَ هُدَايَ. When guidance comes to you and you follow, then you will not go astray and you will not suffer. وَلَا يَشْقَى. It's very beautiful. It means that the nature of this world, this physical world, is not free from troubles. Okay? But if you manage to understand the purpose behind this and use all those things as an opportunity to get close to Allah, then you would not suffer in your heart. You will not suffer deep. A student who goes to school must understand what is the purpose of going to school. Why we go to school? Do you go to a school to relax? No, this is not a holiday resort. A school is a place in which there is homework, discipline. You have to sit on your chair for hours. Yeah, there are difficulties. But if you know the purpose and benefit from a school, then you can enjoy going to school. Do you get the point? Those who really know the benefit of going to school, to university for a study, although it requires them lots of physical pain, going there, sitting there, doing homework, assignment, studying, exams, yeah, lots of pain, but they enjoy. If you tell them, don't go to a school, there is no legal requirement, says, no, I'm not going for the sake of legal requirement, I'm enjoying learning. I want to make myself a better person. Do you get the point? So, in one level, you suffer, but in a higher level, or you can say deeper, higher in value, and deeper means more underlying, you are enjoying. And therefore, you are not ready to replace. You are not ready to say, okay, I don't want to learn, and just I want to get physical pleasure. Yes, there are a few naughty, students that maybe they want to enjoy in the school by doing mischief, just playing, mocking, all these things. But these are not learning. These are the people who do the same in their religious life, for example. They don't want to do anything for their akhirah. They want just to enjoy this dunya. But a mu'min who follows Allah's guidance, he takes this world very seriously, and in the end of the day, he is happy because of his struggle or her struggle. Knows that he is achieving. Another example is, these people who are, for example, a sportsman, a sportswomen who go for Olympics, international games. It's not just, for example, few days after game that they go there and, work. Throughout the year, they have to do always exercises. Yeah? They cannot eat too much. They cannot, do everything that they want. They cannot relax. They have to always observe their diet. They have to do lots of exercise. Yeah, it's a difficult life. Many of them cannot have any other job because they have just to do this all the days. Yeah? So there is a problem. There's a pressure. But they enjoy. Why? Because they have a purpose. They have understood that all these exercises are necessary for achieving that purpose. So they are happy. But when I'm saying happy, it doesn't mean that it's not difficult. Yeah? Sometimes several hours every day they have to exercise. But they are happy. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this world is like a school. Or like, for example, a gym. You have to do lots of exercise. You have to go through lots of difficulties and tests and challenges. But if you understand, you would not suffer in your heart. You suffer in your body. And then you will have a life which would be completely then free from any troubles. In Akhirah, then you don't need any exercise. But this world is with exercise, with difficulties. But what we have in our hadith and Quran is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this even easier for us, has promised us lots of reward, especially when we are faced with difficulties and pains which are not caused by ourselves. If they are caused by my carelessness, that's another thing. But if it's not caused by me, Allah gives me lots of reward. For example, there are several hadiths, but I mentioned few of them. Abdullah ibn Abi Ya'fur, one of the companions of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, شكوت إلى أبي عبد الله عليه السلام ما ألقى من الأوجاع. I made a complaint to Imam Sadiq about my illness. I have lots of pains. وكان مسقاما. Then the person who quotes this, he says, Abdullah ibn Abi Ya'fur was a person who was very ill. You know, he was a collection of different types of illnesses. Like some people, you know, they have, you know, cholesterol, you know, diabetes, you know, lots of problems. فَقَالَ لِي يَا عَبْدَ اللَّهِ. Imam Sadiq told Abdullah ibn Abi Ya'fur, لَوْ يَعْلَمُ الْمُؤْمِنُ ما له من المصائب لتمنى أن يغرز بالمغاريض طول عمره. If a mu'min knows how much Allah gives him for his suffering, for calamities, masa'ib, you know, calamities that happen, he would wish that his body was made into pieces by Caesar. Not only once, tula umreh. Imagine all your life. If you knew how much Allah gives you when you are in trouble, when you are ill, for example, when you are suffering, if you knew, you would have asked Allah, please let this continue. And therefore, on the day of judgment, people wish they had suffered more. There is hadith that when you see on the day of judgment what Allah gives you for the du'as which were not answered in dunya, then you say, I wish none of my du'as were answered. Now, because we don't have that vision, I feel sad if I ask Allah and He doesn't give me. And I feel very happy that what I ask Him, He gives me. But in the hereafter, I wish none of my du'as were answered. Unless if the dua is for akhirah, of course. If it's for iman, for akhirah, that's another issue. But dua for dunya, I mean. Like dua for money, for children, for house, for job. These worldly du'as, which are good. But if they are not answered, don't be sad. Because Allah gives you so much that you would be fully satisfied and you would wish that they were not answered, you know, in other cases. Sometimes we find in our hadith that when Allah doesn't love someone, then He answers his du'as quickly. Why? Because Allah doesn't want this person to pray. You cannot generalize, you know. I'm saying sometimes, because sometimes Allah answers because you are a good person. But sometimes Allah answers because He doesn't want to hear your voice. Yeah? You know, sometimes there are people, you know, who come and, you know that they want money. But before talking about money, they take half an hour of your time. So the next time it comes in, I take this money and go. At least I save my half an hour time. So there are people that Allah doesn't want to hear their voice. So Allah gives them so that they shut their mouths. But there are people that Allah loves their voice. So Allah says, I'm not going to give you because I want to hear. I want your dua to continue. So, if a person gets everything that he wants and he faces no problem, he has to be alarmed. Maybe this is istidraj. Maybe Allah is ignoring him and not bothering about his uplifting. You know, if you are a student and your teacher never bothers whether you are late or not, whether you are well dressed or not, whether you do your homework or not, it's not necessarily a good thing. It can be a sign of teacher not caring about you, because he has given you many, advices. Now he says it's useless. Why I, waste my time? Just he's waiting for the end of the year to get rid of you. So, suffering can indeed be a sign of being loved and cared for. And not suffering can be a sign of being forgotten. So I quote hadith for both sides. This hadith is about a person who didn't suffer, and Rasulullah said this is a bad sign. قال أبو عبد الله عليه السلام, Imam Sadiq عليه السلام says, دعي النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إلى طعام. Someone invited Rasulullah for a meal. فلما دخل منزل الرجل نظر إلى دجاجة فوق حائط. Rasulullah, when entered, he saw that there is a hen on a wall. قد بابت, had just laid egg on the wall. So, for a hen to go and lay the egg on the top of the wall is not common. But it went there and did this. Then the egg dropped. فَاتَّقَعُ الْبَيْضَةِ عَلَى وَتْ فِي حَائِطٍ. It dropped, but it didn't fall. There was a nail in the wall. So it dropped and stood on a nail. If I give you an egg and say, put the egg on a nail so that it doesn't drop, you cannot do it. Because either it drops from this side or that side. But this egg from top of the wall dropped and stood on the nail. So what does it show? You must think that, this man is, mashallah, such a holy person. That in his house, even, eggs are obedient. No problem. So, فَثَبَتَتْ عَلَيْهِ وَلَمْ تَسْقُطْ وَلَمْ تَنْكَسِرْ. It didn't drop, it didn't break. فَتَعَجَّبَ النَّبِي صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ مِنْهَا. Rasulullah was surprised. فَقَالَ لَهُ الرَّجُلُ. The man, when saw that Rasulullah is surprised, he said, أَعَجِبْتَ مِنْ هَذِهِ الْبَيْضَةِ. Are you surprised about this egg? This is nothing. It's just an egg. I tell you something more. He said, فَبَالَّذِي بَعَثَكَ بِالْحَقِّ. By Allah who has raised you as a prophet truthfully, I have never had any problem in my life. مَا رُزِعْتُ شَيْئًا. I have never had any musibah, any difficulty, any problem in my life. He said this with a kind of joy and pride. فَنَهَضَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ وَلَمْ يَأْكُلْ مِنْ طَعَامِهِ شَيْئًا. Rasulullah stood up, didn't eat anything from his food, and he said, مَنْ لَمْ يُرْضَعْ فَمَا لِلَّهِ فِيهِ مِنْ حَاجَةٍ. If someone doesn't have any problem, it means that Allah doesn't care about him. I don't want to be in the house of someone that Allah doesn't care about him. So if you have absolutely no problem, this means that Allah has left you to yourself. Allah has forgotten you. Forgotten not in the sense that He doesn't know you exist. It means that He doesn't care about you. On the other hand, when Allah loves some people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests them with difficulties. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, سئل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم من أشد الناس بلاء في الدنيا. Who are the people who face greater difficulties in dunya, more calamities, more troubles? Who are the people who are more annoyed in dunya? Imam Sadiq said Rasulullah was asked this question. فقال, then Rasulullah gave this answer. An-Nabiyun, the prophets. The prophets suffered more in dunya than anyone else. ثُمَّ الْأَمْثَلُ فَالْأَمْثَلُ. Then those who were closer to the prophets, they suffered more than the people who were in the second level. So the closer you are to the prophets, the more you suffer. Then Rasulullah said, وَيُبْتَلَى الْمُؤْمِنُ بَعْدُ عَلَى قَدْرِ إِيمَانِهِ وَحُسْنِ أَعْمَالِهِ. Depending on how good your faith is and how much amal salih, good deed you have, you suffer. If you have more iman and amal salih, you suffer more. فَمَنْ صَحَّ إِيمَانُهُ وَحَسُنَ عَمَلُهُ اشْتَدَّ بَلَاؤُهُ. Your problems go higher. If your iman is good, your amal is good. وَمَنْ سَخُفَ إِيمَانُهُ وَضَعُفَ عَمَلُهُ قَلَّ بَلَاؤُهُ. But if your iman is weak, your amal is little, then your bala is less. Of course, this again cannot be generalized. You cannot say everyone who is suffering, it's because his iman is destroyed. No, sometimes people suffer because they don't have any iman. There are people who are in prison because they have been doing crimes and they suffer. There are people who suffer, for example, in their family life because they were careless at the time of, for example, marrying. Or, for example, they have become bankrupt because they were careless when they were making business. Okay? So, we are not talking about those problems which we have caused. I am talking about those problems that I am not caused. Someone else has caused or naturally has happened. Maybe my mother was not careful about my upbringing. Maybe the nurse in the hospital, was not careful at the time of delivery and the child has become, for example, disabled. Maybe a driver was careless and hit me and now I am blind all my life. These type of sufferings is not a sign of you being a bad person. But those sufferings that you cause for yourself, I'm not saying you are a bad person, but those are different. Of course, even if you have caused this with yourself and then later you regret, again you can benefit from them. And again Allah can reward you for them. So, you have to make sure that at this time you are not causing problem. Maybe in the past you were not careful. Okay, from this time correct your way and you can benefit from this. Imam Baqir alayhi salam said, إن الله تبارك وتعالى إذا أحب عبدا قثه بالبلاء قثا. When Allah loves someone, covers him or her with bala. وثجه بالبلاء ثجا. Surrounds him with bala. فإذا دعاه. When then he calls Allah, he prays. He says, oh Allah, please, stop this suffering. قَالَ لَبَّيْكَ عَبْدِي. Allah says, yes, here I am. لَإِنْ عَجَّلْتُ لَكَ مَا سَأَلْتَ إِنِّي عَلَى ذَلِكَ لَقَادِرٌ. I can give you what you want quickly. But وَلَئِنْ ادَّخَرْتُ لَكَ فَمَا ادَّخَرْتُ لَكَ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكَ. I can give you what you want quickly, but if I save for you this, don't give it you now, it's better for you. You don't want this, but it's better for you. Sometimes, we are not patient, but we have to be patient. There is hadith that if someone's child dies before he or she dies, Allah gives them great reward. We have hadith about miscarried babies. We have hadith about children who die when the parents are alive. Even some hadith says that if you have one child who dies when you are alive, is better for you than leaving behind 70 children who would help Imam Zaman. But after you die. To give something when you are alive is more important than making a will that when I die, do this with my money. If I give $1 now, is better than telling people that after I die, give $1,000 from my money to charity. After you die, you are not going to, use it. So you say, okay, give it. You know the story of that person who died and he had made a will to distribute the dates that he had for poor people. There's lots of dates. One date was on the floor. Rasulullah took and said if he had given this when he was alive was better for him than giving all this after he died. So if someone suffers for his child or her child, for their illness, for their, problem, for their marriage, for their children, for education, for anything, then you will be given a lot. If you have fever, you will be rewarded. If you have cancer, you will be rewarded. If you have a neighbor who annoys you and there is nothing you can do, for example, you cannot change your house, you have to wait, you will be rewarded. If you are a Muslim lady with hijab and people, for example, harass you or, trouble you, you will be rewarded. Anything that you do in order to maintain your patience, maintain your direction in life, maintain your connection with Allah, then you will be rewarded. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a very special reward for sabirin. Very, very special. He says, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. Those who are patient, they will be rewarded without measure. When Allah says without measure, is different from me saying without measure. If I give someone $1 million, I said I have given you without measure. Because for me, measure is to give people, £100, £200, £1,000. If I give 1,000, it's without measure. 100,000 is without measure. When Allah says بغير حساب, it means absolutely great. And this is for sabirin. إنما يوفى الصابرون أجرهم بغير حساب. So now my question to you is this. is this world, which is not the perfect world, as we said, the best possible world, with the problems that it has, is this world a good world for achieving the purpose of the life? The answer is yes, absolutely. Indeed, if there was no problem in this world, we would have lost lots of opportunities of being sabir, being patient, and then being rewarded without measure. What you can achieve in a place in which there is discipline, in which you have to do exercises, in which you have to do homeworks, in which you have to pay money, cannot be achieved when you go to just a park and enjoy yourself. So this world is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a clear purpose, and the purpose is to enjoy this world as much as possible, but more importantly, to gain enough for eternal happiness. And the provision that we collect through suffering is much more than the provision that we collect through our amal salih. More than your prayer and fasting, you gain from suffering. Of course, you have to pray and fast so that you can remain sabir. Okay? But from suffering you earn a lot. Inshallah, I have a little more to say about this, because we cannot wait more about this. We have to cover many things. But there is one explanation also that I want inshallah to share with you, that why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much rewards the patient people. Why, if someone else has caused this problem, Allah is rewarding me? Inshallah, we'll talk about it in the next session. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.